Yeah, that's very disappointing not to come away with a win on Saturday. Louisiana has a very good football team, but we played well enough to win. You just can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to come out on the right side of it. And when you get healthy during this bye week and get ready for Georgia State next week and 2 weeks from now.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have a question, just go into reactions and raise your hand. All right, we'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Hey, Coach Clark. Obviously not the performance you were hoping from out of the offense, but what do you see defensively against a good Louisiana team that gives you some positives to look forward to for the rest of the season from the defense?
Yeah, we've done some things to change schematic wise and get our best players on the football field. I thought our players up front on the defensive line played physical, had some knockbacks, and I thought we played better at linebacker. And those are the things we have to do to be successful. So we'll keep building on those things and try to add on to our package during the bye week and get ready to play a good Georgia State team.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach, what can you say? Obviously, the running game did a pretty effective job for the most part of the game Saturday, but Kanye Roberts, what can you say about his progression throughout the year and what you can kind of expect to see from him the rest of the season, but also what you've really liked in terms of his development throughout the year so far?
Well, he's continued to improve week in and week out without question. He's gotten better in his pass protection. And again, he's run the ball hard. I mean, he did have a fumble in that game, but he's run the football hard. He's not letting one player bring him down. So we need Kanye to play his very best to continue to improve our run game. I think the offensive line tight ends blocked well enough to give us a chance to move the chains in the run game. But we have to be able to run the football. You can't be one-dimensional, and that's what we've been here recently is one-dimensional. So we'll keep adding to the run game and find the best schemes that fit us best this year.
Now we'll go over to Billy. Billy?
Hey, Coach. Almost being a full month since you guys have been at home, really, how important do you think it is to play Georgia State and get back on the field in your home stadium?
Yeah, it's going to be very important. It's almost a month to be back at the Rock, and again, it gives us a great home field advantage. We have a very passionate fan base that loves App State football, and we feed off that. So we hope that we can get back in here at the appropriate time and play a game here at home.
And we'll go back to Adam. Adam?
Yeah, Coach Clark, I know you alluded to turnovers being the problem Saturday. After reviewing film and seeing things that have happened earlier in the season and carried over to Saturday, is there an area where you'd say that's maybe most critical, most important to get it fixed, or is there one area where you could say you felt like a lot of that stuff kind of was born or in the game where that stuff sort of started? Was it offensive line? Was it just read protections? Was it, where would you see a lot of those problems coming from?
Well, he's making the right decisions, and Joey's we've had a lot of success with Joey as our starting quarterback, and he'll continue to be our quarterback. Just make the right decisions. I mean, sometimes you just throw a check down and get 4 or 5 yards and move to the next play. But again, that's been our Achilles heel thus far. And early in the year, as far as protection, he was trying to get rid of the ball faster. But again, we just have to make better decisions. People have to play better around Joey, and that starts everyone: the offensive line, running backs, tight ends, receivers, but it's been a point of emphasis throughout this season. But you just can't. It's not one person making that. You can't put the blame on one person. It's everybody around him.
And back to Sam. Sam?
Coach, as you look ahead to the next matchup with Georgia State, first time facing off against a Dell McGee-led team down there, what makes them unique this season and maybe a challenge to prepare for as you look forward to that matchup?
I really haven't had a chance to watch much tape on Georgia State thus far. I'm just getting ready, getting our team back. We got back about 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday and brought our kids in Sunday and watched the tape and then put it to bed. So our kids have a few days off today and tomorrow because of fall break. We'll get back here on Wednesday and start our game plan versus Georgia State. But I know just the little bit I do know, they're coached very well, got good players, and it's going to be a challenge for us.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, just it was a tough one. A lot of credit goes to James Madison, played a good game against us last week. But we're moving on. We got a really tough opponent in Louisiana this week coming in for homecoming. So we're preparing hard, cleaning up our mistakes and getting ready for a epic battle here at Brooks Stadium.
And Coach, start with Mike Barker. Mike?
Hey, Coach, one going backwards for you for that JMU game. What was difficult about defending George Pettaway, their running back, number 6? What skill set did he present, and what did you like or not like in your run defense?
Yeah, I think, George is a really good player. We recruited him out of high school when I was at North Carolina State. He entered the portal. We tried to get him here, and James Madison won out on him, and we liked him. I think he's a very good running back in all sense. He can catch the ball, he can block, he can run inside, he can run outside, and he proved that. And the things that good and bad about our defense, I felt like some of the big run plays, the big things that potentially took place, we were out of gap. We missed a tackle at times. There were a lot of things that we could have did better to corral them and keep them contained potentially better than we did as through the game as we saw it.
Thank you.
Over to Sam. Sam?
Hey, Coach, certainly 2 interceptions is part of the story, but what was James Madison doing defensively that was able to help them slow down your offense that's been consistently producing significant points in coming into this game this past week?
Yeah, no doubt. We didn't execute very well. Obviously, we had some key third down drop passes or plays that, whether they were drop passes or potential catchable balls, we didn't make those plays, and they did. I think when you get down, we were down 20. It was 7-7. They scored, and then the interception that they returned, you could sense a little. You could sense a little bit with our offensive team in general, or in particular, that they were a little down with that, and we have to be better getting over that and moving on to the next phase of the game. But I think it affected us a little bit because it was 15-7, like 12 minutes ago in the second quarter. I mean, it's just a regular game, and then the interception was a big play that they scored on and got the crowd amped back up and started playing. So some of our ineptitude offensively didn't help us to stay on the field.
And then looking ahead to the next matchup with Louisiana, Coach, they're off to obviously a 5-1 start. What do you think makes them unique this year and a challenge to prepare for?
I think offensively they're unique compared to most offensive systems. They take their time. Most of them don't anymore. Very veteran group. Of their starting 5 offensive linemen, 4 of them are redshirt seniors, and the quarterback's been playing football for 7 years. That's a very, very veteran group. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and Coach has done a great job with them. They're physical. They run the ball well up front, and that allows their defense to be off the field. Teams don't get a lot of plays against them. So sometimes as an offensive coordinator, you feel pressured. I got to try to hurry up and make a play because we're not going to get very many opportunities to make those plays. And you throw the ball into coverage, or you do things that are uncharacteristic of what you do offensively. A little bit what happened to us in James Madison when you're down, right? You start doing some things, maybe that's not really who you are. So, it's going to be a battle. They're extremely well coached, good football team.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
I appreciate you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, had a big win, another big win at home against Southern Miss. It was a hard fought physical game. I thought that, there was a lot of momentum swings in that game, but I felt like as the game went and we settled down that, we were able to pull it out in the end. Thought Aiden Armenta, got it for his second start of his career, showed a lot of growth from game 1, from his first start to his second start. I thought defensively, anytime you can hold your opponent, I think 1 for 12 or 1 for 13 on third down. And then when we were 7 for 14 on third down, that situational football played a key part in being able to get 2 takeaways on defense and not turning the ball over on offense was also a key part. in that win. Really proud of our players. Won a homecoming game for the first time since 16. That was a big deal for our program and our fans. And really just able to get that 5th win, and be able to move to 5-1. I think for the first time since 1987. So got a long way to go. Got a tough road ahead of us, but just trying to get better one day at a time.
All right, appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Billy. Billy?
Hey, Coach. So coming off of that block field goal at the end of the third quarter, what was kind of the messaging to really, essentially turn the game upside down in the fourth offensively?
It really just that there's going to be momentum swings in big games. You're going to have momentum swings. They're coming, and it's how we respond and it's how we handle them. And that was something we were preaching on the sideline. Hey, what do we do now? How do we respond? And I thought that our response and our mentality as a team was on point. We were able to answer with 21 straight points in the fourth quarter, off some big plays, and some routine big plays. And I thought our response kind of said everything that we were looking for with 21 straight. And then we gave up a touchdown with about 20 seconds to go in the game. So I thought how we handled adversity and how we played in the fourth was a big deal to, towards winning that game, obviously.
We'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, you talked about the 5-1 start, first time since 1987. How important has it been to re-engage with the alumni of the ULM program, Warhawk Nation, and really, obviously setting some great starts for this year, but really engaging with those folks from the 1987 team and other folks that are part of Warhawk Nation as you guys are trying to rebuild this program in your first year?
Anytime you're rebuilding a program or you're getting, one that's been down for a while or so forth, whatever you want to say, not a lot of success, it starts with relationships. Because when you have programs that have been down in this situation that we came into, there's always lack of communication. There's been support that's fallen off, or there's been, whatever you want to call it, failure. And the biggest thing we wanted to do is we wanted to get our former players that we knew that love this program and have passion for this program back involved. We wanted to get the guys that cared, to build those relationships back. And we started a thing called a team meeting that we had the second game against UAB that we promoted throughout the spring and the summer. And we had over 180 former players come, that second game, and, just trying to grow that army back and build that family back. And I think we've done that. And I think our attendance is went up to as high as 22,000 last game, 19 the game before. So, you're seeing the steps that need to be taken are showing up. And, our alumni and our former players are all coming back. Our student body and our crowds have been great. The campus has got a buzz, and there's energy on campus that might not have been here in what people are telling me, 20 years. So, I think we're off to a great start, obviously. And we got to continue to build the foundation. We're a long way from where we need to be. We've taken some great steps, but, we've got to continue this journey. And we haven't reached any goals that we've set out for in year one. And that's to get bowl eligible, to win a bowl game, to be bowl champions, something that's never happened here, to win in an outright Sun Belt, and you got to win the West before you can do that. So we still got all of our goals in front of us.
And then, Coach, obviously unique with this year, it's a 2-bye year. How do you use this bye week, and then how do you carry that momentum forward through the bye week that you're talking about? How do you keep that going during a bye week, and then obviously 2 road games after that?
Yeah, the bye week came at a great time. We're beat up. We've been in some physical football games from Texas, to then you go to Troy and you're in a World War with Troy, to then James Madison, who's got an unbelievable team, to Southern Miss. That was a very physical game. We're beat up. We lost our left tackle and our left guard in these last couple games. We've had some guys had to step up. We've been beat up in certain aspects, and guys have stepped up. So we've got to use this week to continue to get better at us. But we've got a 6-game stretch, from South Alabama to Marshall to Texas State to Auburn to Arkansas State to Lafayette. I mean, we've got one of the toughest, they say the toughest group of 5 schedule in the country. And it's going to be a 6-game stretch that's got to get tough. So we got to get our guys healed up. We've got to get them freshened up, but we've also got to clean a lot because we're still a work in progress. Playing 6 games together with basically a new team. So we've got to continue to sharpen ourselves, but we've got to get our bodies back and get prepared for this 6-game gauntlet.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Go Warhawks. Appreciate you.
Yeah, good win on Thursday night. That was tough jamming that all into, 1 week, especially coming off that flight really late. I thought our guys did a really good job of managing it and then in the end got out here and were able to just execute the plan really, really well. Defensively just played a strong game and, looking forward to heading down to Georgia this weekend and, taking on a very, very, very tough Georgia Southern team.
All right, for our media on the call, just raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start off with Mike Barber.
Morning, Coach. If you don't mind taking me back, what was the process of landing George Pettaway? How did you get him? What did you like about him?
Well, we liked everything about George Pettaway. How did we get him? It came down to, he came on one of the visits. I think he had 2 or 3 over the course of that little period of time. There's like a 7-day window, or I think it was a little less than that even. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But he came up and visited and hung out with us and, just made a great connection with us. And I thought, things, worked out really, really well. He had a lot of questions and felt, previously he didn't want any huge promises. He just wanted to know that he had a chance to come in and compete and a chance to do well. And at that point, I think 3 of the 4 running backs that had gotten reps were gone on to a different school. So it was pretty open and a chance for him to come in and make his mark, which he did and is doing.
Alonzo mentioned the idea that you might look at him from the outside and think he's a 3rd down back, a scat back, but he's a guy who's unafraid to run between the tackles, lower the shoulder. What have you seen from his physicality and maybe just courage kind of running the ball?
Yeah, a lot of courage. And I think the other thing too is he's patient. He sits behind the line and he waits for things to open, and he's got a great burst to be able to take off when that finally the play presents itself. He doesn't go looking for the play. He lets the play find him, and he stays the course with his reads and does a really good job. But he's also versatile. Like out of the backfield, you watch him do a whole bunch of things. But then, when we put him out in the empty scenarios earlier in the season, even now, he can catch the ball, he can run, he's getting better at pass protecting, and he's just a complete player.
Thank you.
You got it.
We'll jump on over to Adam.
Coach Chesney, getting into Georgia Southern, you guys, you mentioned you're expecting a great challenge from them. They're known for really being able to throw the ball around. They used 2 quarterbacks last week, 41 pass attempts, but also 33 runs on the ground in that game, and the comeback win for them. Kind of coming downhill heading into the matchup with you guys. What are you going to have to do to prepare to balance that ground and air attack at the same time and keep your defense honest?
Yeah, well, they do a lot. We just played Coastal and they do a lot. These guys do even more offensively. It is impressive to watch. I just, the way that, both quarterbacks and, you watch that game and when you got into the end of it, the one quarterback just got knocked out at the end and you thought, oh man, I wonder how this is going to go next. And then the other kid came in and, just was firing on all cylinders. He can run, he can throw. He's a big body kid. There's a whole lot of good, coming out of that team. They do such a good job schematically as well. They're balanced. Like you said, they take their chances when they can. They have a great RPO game. Their receivers are phenomenal. It's a very, very good football team. It's going to take a lot to try to contain that or slow that down. They're balanced, but then they also have big play capability. They take shots when they need to. And both receivers, number 2 and number 1, the tight end, the running backs, they're a very tough, a tough team to defend.
And we'll go on over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, just a quick question. Really kind of clicking on all cylinders heading into this Georgia Southern matchup. What do you think it does for the team's confidence to have a performance like that, both defensively and offensively, heading into a tough road game?
Well, that probably was closer to one of our most complete games that we played. I thought special teams, our return game was great on punt and kick return. I thought that we covered well on kickoff. I thought we applied a little pressure on punt as well. And then I think you get into offensively, again, you said it, but we were clicking on all cylinders, well, the game changed into a game of, keeping guys safe and getting off the field towards the end of it. But defensively, that was as, good a game as I've been a part of, to hold them to 180 yards total and 21% on third down. There was a lot that we were able to do. And defensively, I thought we had them schemed up well. And then I thought we just played really, really hard. So that confidence, carrying that into this week is nice. But again, like always, it's just about what do we do with it today? What did we do with it yesterday? What are we going to do with it tomorrow? We can't look too far ahead. It's one day at a time, and just continue to, sort of dance with the one that brought us. And that's just the way we prepare and the way we compete and the way we, hold the standard and hold each other accountable.
Thanks, Coach Chesney. Appreciate the time today.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Really excited for our guys. Huge win, conference win. 2-0 in conference. Got a really quality opponent this week, and Old Dominion, and anytime you're traveling and getting on a plane and going that far and playing a really quality team with a really quality head coach, and got a lot of respect for him and just kind of who he is as a person and what he's about, and he's really good, and their staff is really good. They have a unique scheme on both sides of the ball, so really challenging, and our guys are excited for the opportunity to go on the road again and try to get a victory in the Sun Belt. Questions?
For our media on the call, raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start it off with Adam.
Coach Kinne, you've been able to probably look at the tape and everything from this past weekend, but really effective performance from Jordan. You guys ran the ball extremely well. The defense was strong. Was there any things that you pointed out that you actually wanted your team to maybe do better in that game?
I think third down defense, we can always get a little bit better there. It was a third and long situation, and we knew what they were going to run. We had a really good scheme for that call, and we just we left it at a 4th and 1, and they converted the 4th and 1, and then we, on the opposite side of the ball, we had another 4th and 1 that we didn't convert, and they had a really good play call for that situation, and they timed up the blitz really well, and so I would say offensively, those 4th and 1s have continued to show up for us, and then defensively, just continuing the third down defense, and then P and 10 defense, we got to continue to work on that and make sure our guys are better prepared, and I thought give Arkansas State a lot of credit. I thought they did a really good job of having P and 10 calls, ready to go. They came out in an unbalanced look the first play of the game and all that. So, but credit to our coaches and our players. We were able to, make some adjustments and prepare on the sidelines. And that's one good thing about the iPad. You're able to get some real time information. So, but yeah, those would be some things we got to get better at.
We'll jump over to Jacob Rodriguez.
Yeah, Coach, good morning. Great
Morning.
win on Saturday.
Thank you.
It was a crazy crowd, too. Just wanted your thoughts on sort of that home field atmosphere, first crowd like that for a Sun Belt matchup.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. We had probably over 100, 200 recruits on hand to watch that, official visits. So that was really awesome for recruiting. But I think, the on the field play, I think our guys feed off that energy, and it's tough to come play here. And that's, you talk about the home games we've had this year, and multiple head coaches now have talked about it's a real home field advantage. So I think we got to continue that in conference play if we want to get to where we want to be.
Let's go over to Billy.
Hey, Coach. We've talked about it in the past, Jordan's play. Again, no interceptions. And then you had 3 receivers over 50 yards. Talk about, Jordan's ability to spread out the football. And then, what he's seeing, what the kind of game plan is, and, how his performance has been so far this year.
Yeah, Jordan's been really solid. He's making good decisions. He's distributing the ball. like you said, we got multiple receivers that can make plays, and he's distributing it like a point guard, and that's what we need. And I think the real game changer for us and his ability to run and scramble and get us out of the negative plays and avoid the sacks and so I think he's done a really good job with that, and he's seen a lot of defenses, and he's cool, calm, and collected, very confident back there, and that's always a good thing for a quarterback.
Let's go over to Jacob again.
Yeah, back to business, coach, for Ben Bell. Is there any decision been reached either for the long term or short term with that, or?
No. We'll see how this week of practice goes and go from there.
And let's go over to Adam. Adam, you're on mute.
Hey, coach. Sorry, I just back in ODU. Some things that they do that you guys are going to have to do really well to beat them. Things that your team does that ODU needs to.
Yeah, I think it's really early in the week still. Watched probably more offense than defense so far. So I got to continue to study, and I'll probably have a better idea of that later in the week. But I know they're really well coached. They provide a unique scheme on defense, and then offensively they've looks like they've maybe pivoted, one train of thought and gone towards another. So really diving into that, and obviously you have a new quarterback and all that. So I think he's really talented. He can run. You can tell he's a young kid, but plays with a lot of confidence, and he's got something to him. You can tell that off the film. So we'll just have to really dive into that more to give you a solid answer.
And coach, one last one for me here, but how important was it for Ish to get going and really have that strong game this week to kind of solidify that dual threat of your offense and have the running game really get going?
Yeah, it was huge, and we challenged those guys all week in practice and before the game, and I thought it was really good to see him come out and perform like that. We needed that, and it's never just on Ish to come out there and play. It's on the O-line, it's on the quarterback to make the right reads. In the RPO game, or the right reads, box counts, and all that kind of good stuff, and the receivers down the field blocking. So it's never on just Ish to get going. It's on everybody. It's on the coaches to put him in good positions to succeed. It's on his running back coach to push him throughout the week in practice. So, but it was really good to see Ish come out there and go out there and perform and play the way we know he can play. And I continue, I look for him to continue to, that success.
Great. Thanks, Coach Kinne. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, very disappointing loss this past weekend. Didn't play up to the standard. Got to do a whole lot better on the line of scrimmage, and really finding a way to continue to take our practice details to the game. We got to make sure that we're making the correct decisions offensively and defensively. And I know the big question is going to be who's going to be starting quarterback. I don't know that yet. They're being evaluated this week, and we're going to make a decision before Thursday, hopefully. With that, any questions may be asked.
All right. For media on the call, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start it off with Luke Creasy.
Hey, Coach, when you look at Marshall, what stands out to you on film, either offensively or defensively, about them as you get ready to turn around in a short week?
Yep, they're very big on both line of scrimmages. I think they probably have the best defensive end, in our conference, and probably shouldn't even be playing at this level. So they definitely got a steal with him. They have a lot of size on their D line. I mean, the linebackers can run. Secondary guys are really good cover guys. Have two elite quarterbacks that can change the game with their legs as well as their arm. Then they have a couple of elite receivers. So they got a really, really talented football team. They've been in their kind of somewhat same system. I know they've changed coordinators, but you can kind of see from a philosophical standpoint, they're still doing the same things they did in the past. So well coached, going on the road. So we got to change gears and understand what comes with being on the road, dealing with crowd noise, and making sure we're operating as one.
And a quick follow-up, if I can, just when you look at what Georgia Southern was able to do against them there at the end of the game, obviously a big comeback in the fourth quarter, does that send a message to your guys about, hey, don't quit, we can still, be in this until the last whistle?
That's always a message. I mean, had that opportunity this past weekend, but we didn't finish the drill. But, that's one thing we're always going to continue to do. We're going to keep playing until the clock hits zero. I do understand and believe our kids believe in that message and that tone, and that showed up on Saturday. But nothing what Georgia Southern did against Marshall to reiterate that. No, a lot of things happened in that game prior where I thought Marshall had the game under control and just kind of lost momentum. Momentum's a hard thing to stop when it's rolling the wrong direction.
Let's jump over to Stan Autry.
Hey, Dell, I was going to ask you about your punter, James Allen. How would you rate what he's done? Seems like he's been pretty consistent for you.
Yeah, he does an outstanding job of punting the football. Sometimes he outkicks our coverage, so his distance has to match. The hang time has to match his distance, and we got to make sure we're getting back to that. But he did an exceptional job over the last 3 weeks of helping create and change field position for our defense.
How do you find a guy like that from Australia and then to a little place in Texas?
Yep, just recruiting. That's what it takes. So need to continue to do that, and that's really where our mindset is in the future of making sure we get the right guys here. Just understand we got hired late and try to find the best available that we could get in that time frame and with that second portal window, and really accepting the guys that were already on scholarship from the previous class because we didn't feel like it would be fair to release those incoming freshmen despite what the evaluation says. So, everything moving forward is about how do we make our roster better for next year.
Thanks.
And we'll jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, just a quick question. I know Luke kind of hit on this earlier, and you kind of mentioned it in your opening statement. But really, your first road game of the year coming up, going to Marshall. What do you think are 2 or 3 keys for your team to stay locked in, even being on the road?
We as coaches, the game plan has to be simple, and it has to really be simple because of the week and being as short as it is, and also the physicality that we can't really practice with during the week because of some of the injuries, and just making sure our guys are fresh for Thursday. So just make sure we lock in on the details. Really, really have to be in tune with tendencies and the game plan and just the key triggers that's going to help us be successful on Thursday night. So it's not necessarily a message, it's a business trip. And we got to play well to have a chance. If we don't play well, then we won't have a chance. So it's really going to be about us and how we prepare, how well we play, and how well we execute during the game. That's what it comes down to. How do we execute? How we take our practice and walkthroughs to the game and play to the standard, play with great physicality, stop the run, and run the football.
Thanks, Coach McGee. Appreciate the time today.
So thanks.
Yeah, good win for our football team over a really good Marshall team. Credit to Coach Huff and his staff and his players. I thought they played a really, really good football game. At the end of the day, our defense has really shined for us over the last 2 weeks, and it's really been about turnovers. Marshall was a team coming in here that had only given up 2 turnovers. We were able to get 3 in that game, especially the ones late, helped out. And then, we have a rally, gain momentum right down the stretch. Credit to our kids. I wish I could say that, I said in post game, I wish I could say it was coaching. It was just a bunch of dang kids that willed themselves to win and played at an extremely high level when it counted the most, and got us a big conference win. One thing I've learned about this league in my 3rd season going into it is this league is ultra competitive, and every week you have to fight your butt off to try to go 1-0. And fortunately, we were able to get that done. We got James Madison, who's playing at an extremely high level. Coach Chesney has done an amazing job, replacing Coach Signetti. They've just kept that thing rolling. Huge power 4 win, offensively putting up 39 points a game. Defense hold them 16, turnover margin of +12, which is ridiculous right now. So we've got a huge challenge ahead of us, and thank goodness it's back in the home venue that's been really good to us here at Paulson. So we look forward to Saturday and look forward to the next opportunity to compete. With that, I'll take any questions you got.
All right, for our media on the call, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start it off with Luke Creasy.
Coach, obviously they scored that touchdown in the third quarter to go up by 20. When did you start to feel the momentum change? Because you get a stop there on defense when they change quarterbacks again. When did you start to sense that, you could kind of crawl your way back into that game?
Yeah, it really started at halftime, and that's, I think, was our level of frustration. I thought Coach Applin did some nice things, little wrinkles that in the third quarter, that all of a sudden you drive the ball inside the 20 and we have a turnover, and then we get the ball right back and we drive it down to the 3 and we go out on downs. And you're saying, gosh, Shane, you're putting up yards, you're moving the ball, but you're not putting points on the board. And then, probably the one play that kind of, I think, jump-started us all is probably the safety. We're sitting there and unfortunately there's a miscommunication between a quarterback and a wide receiver. It's a flag that has to be thrown. It's in the end zone, and it really gave us the opportunity to get the ball back with good field position. And all of a sudden we put a touchdown on top, and now that's 9 points immediately. 9 of that 20 is gone in a really fast hurry. And you're saying, okay, hey, this is a 2-score game. Can we get a turnover? Can we create a 3 and out? And you look at the last 7 drives of that game, you're talking about 3 and outs, a six play drive that ended up on 3 turnovers. And that gave us the ball back very quickly, and our offense finally got momentum, and some playmakers really shined down the stretch. LV Bunkley Shelton, Durham Burgess, Dalen Cobb, Tyler Fromm, David Mbadinga, the playmakers showed up and did what it took to win a game.
And then a quick follow-up. Did you see the long stadium long rally towel being formed? And, just to have fans engaged like that, even in a blowout to the end of the game, what was that like for you to see?
Yeah, I absolutely love our community and love our fan base. You look at what's going on here, and you look at the size of the crowds that are coming out for this season and the support we have, and our student base is incredible. They got to be one of the best in the country. They show up and show out every week, and they stuck with us. And that was the longest rally towel I've ever seen. There's got to be a world record out there someplace, but we've got to be close to it. But it was pretty cool to be able to see a bunch of folks that support you and stay behind you and go, hey, Coach, we're with you every play. It took all 60 minutes, which we apologize for, but we needed every second to be able to get it done.
And we'll jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, just what a performance from Dexter coming in off the bench like that. And, what have you seen from him throughout the season, leading up to that moment? And, what was your confidence like, in him and moving forward?
Yeah, it is probably the biggest area of growth that we've had. We've had good quarterbacks here, but we needed depth in that room. And when you talk about having a J.C. French, a Dexter Williams, a David Dallas, a Tyler Budge, any of those guys can go out there and play at a very high level, and that's what you want. You don't want a lack of production. It's one of the reasons that we prepare everybody like a starter. We do a 60% to 40% ratio between our 1s and 2s. So you're getting those reps. So when it is your time, you're ready to go. And credit to Dex. You think about the mental toughness and discipline you have. You got a quarterback in JC that's playing at such a high level that you just don't know when your opportunity is going to come. And we also always say you're one snap away. Well, here it is in game 6. in the most critical time of our season, trying to stay undefeated in conference. And he comes in and just gets hot right from the first throw. I thought Coach Applin did a really nice job of calling a deep ball shot right on the first throw to kind of just ease everybody's minds and take the thinking out of it and just, hey, launch it down there, and LV makes a great play. And so, and that kind of loosened us all up. And all of a sudden he rattles us off 21 straight points. Great job by him. And that's the reason he came here, was to make some very special memories, and he made one for himself and our football team on Saturday night.
Great. Thanks, Coach Helton. Appreciate the time today.
All right, guys. Take care. Hail Southern.
Yeah, so, good to be on the right side of things after Saturday night. I think our defense is continuing to get better week after week. Last couple weeks they've been really disruptive. They've forced turnovers, gotten takeaways, and set up our offense to score. I think our offense was opportunistic. When we did get good field position from the defense and we had opportunities to score, we did a good job. We were much better in the red zone than we were the week before, which we needed to be, and we're, finding ways to win as a team. And I think good teams do a good job. They play off of each other, and right now that's what we're doing. I think, it wasn't our cleanest game on offense, which I think there's certainly a lot of room for improvement across the board. And that's what we're focused on right now, is what we can do to get better. So the second half of the season is as good or better than the first half. So for us, there's still a lot of work to do. And the message, to our team is we're a work in progress. It's good to be a work in progress when you're, at 5-1 at the midway point, but we're not done. We're not a finished product. We're not ready to say that this is who we are. There's still a lot of work. There's a lot of improvement left for us. And, we're going to have to, schedule doesn't get any easier. So we're going to have to continue to get better, and we're going to have to play better every week.
All right, for our media on the call, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll start it off now with Adam.
Hey, Coach. Obviously another good win for you guys, your 5th win, but now you got to go on the road and head to Coastal Carolina, who's struggling after last week. But how do you keep your team motivated on a road trip, and an important cross-divisional road trip against a team that really likes to run the ball, and a team that frankly struggled against defending the run? So how important do you see the run game being for both sides in this game?
Well, I mean, I it's still football, and at some point you're gonna have to be able to run the ball to win. You got to be able to stop the run to win. So it always starts there. For us offensively, our whole game plan starts around what runs do we feel like we can get an advantage on, and then we build everything off of that. Defensively, everything starts with being run sound, and then from there you pick the coverages and pressures off of that. So it always starts with the run. Yeah, they had a tough week last week. That's any given night. We all know that. They're a good football team. You turn on the tape and you watch the other 5 games that they've got, they're playing really good football. They've got 2 games where they've got over 500 yards of offense. They're averaging 400 yards a game. They're scoring points. They've got a really good back. They're covering people up front, do a lot of different things in the run scheme. We shouldn't have a problem being motivated. On top of that, it's a noon kickoff. I think we're their homecoming game, so that's always fun to be invited to homecoming. So, for us, that, like I said, we have a lot of work we need to do on us. So, we certainly need to not start feeling like we've got it figured out. And like I said, when you play a team like Coastal, there's a lot of issues now. They do a lot of different things on defense. They pressure from about everybody on the field has pressured, except for maybe the coaches. So, they're going to bring people from all over the place. There's a lot of issues that we're going to have to work through this week so we can go out and go play well.
Let's jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach. So I know in a game like that, there's a lot of moments and a lot of individual performances. I've asked this question in the past, but, how important was it for KC to force that fumble and really kind of, switch things up in the 4th, and then just his performance throughout the year so far?
Yeah, KC's just been consistently very, very good for us, and it's unfortunate sometimes when you have a player like that, you kind of get to where you expect it, you expect him to make those plays. But he does it over and over again, and he's just kind of been that guy for us, but forcing that fumble, I think the biggest thing about that is, the play before was 3rd and 20. And it's 3rd and 20, you think you're about to force a field goal, get off the field, whatever. And they throw one up kind of into traffic, and the receiver makes an unbelievable play.
and they convert a first down, right at the red zone. So it's, that's a tough thing to get over as a defense, right? They convert a 3rd and 20, which should never happen. They do it, make a great play. Our defense just settled down. And I think that was something that earlier in the year, we didn't do a very good job. When something bad would happen on defense, we kind of didn't have the poise to just settle down, play the next play, and get a stop. The very next play was the forced fumble and the fumble recovery that went back the other way. So that was, to me, showed a lot of growth from our defense. And that was something I think it kind of epitomized what that game was. And we told them, like, listen, these guys are really good on offense. They've got really good receivers. Their running back, I thought, was great the other night. Quarterback is extremely talented. It's like they're going to make plays. We just got to relax and go play the next set of downs. So that was really good to see. And certainly, your best players have to make plays in big games for you to win.
And let's go back over to Adam.
Because you've been in the league long enough now, but what can you say about the strength of the West Division? You're at the halfway point, and there's still a lot of ball games left, but the strength of the division and what it's going to take to win the division and stay in contention the rest of the way.
And there are no easy ones. I mean, that's a fact. It's every week. Every week you better show up and you better play your best brand of ball. I mean, that's all you can do. And that's what you push for every week, is just prepare the absolute best that you can, so that on Saturday night you got a chance to go and win the game. It's a tough league from top to bottom. I mean, it doesn't matter who you play. I mean, the Western Division, you look around, there are no weak spots. And for us, it's, everybody keeps asking me, hey, how do we stay focused? I mean, the thing I told our team is, until this season's over, we're a 6-7 team. And that's who we are. And that's the chip that we got to keep on our shoulder. We haven't done anything. No one cares what you do halfway through the year. Everyone cares about where you finish at. We were 4-2 last year at the midpoint, and we didn't handle it very well. We didn't finish very well, and it wasn't a very good season. So for us, our focus has to be on continuing to get better. Our focus has to be on preparing the best possible way that we can. And then on Saturday, you got to go out and you got to perform. So it's not a secret. The league is very good. The Western Division is wide open. I mean, it could be anybody right now at this point. And, we just need to do our job so that every week we're still in that conversation, because if you lose one, you might not be anymore. So that's where our focus is, and that's where it needs to be. We got a huge one this week going on the road, with a cross division rival, and we got a bit of stay in the win column here.
Thanks, Coach Des. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be on here again with you guys. Another disappointing loss, man. Really hard-fought football game. Tip my hat to Coach Vincent and those guys. They've done an unbelievable job at Louisiana Monroe. Off to a great start. They play just a really physical brand of football. They complement each other really well. And, it was a 17-14 game early in the fourth quarter, and it was like we stepped on a landmine, man, and blew everything up. We just didn't finish the game well. We had our opportunities. A lot of that's credit to Monroe and the way they play, but we just didn't finish it well. We played good defense for a long part of the game. Like I said, we was going to give up 17 going in the fourth quarter, and we kind of broke down there at the end. We've got to find a way to score points, and that's something we're working hard on this week. We've got a really good opponent coming in Arkansas State, with a good quarterback, like all Sun Belt teams, man. Well coached and really good. So with that, I'll open it up.
All right. For our media on the call, please raise your hand and we'll jump on you for questions. Go ahead and start it off with Heath.
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask about the second half offense. Was there any time there where you thought about making a change at quarterback, or just wanted to get your opinion on that?
No, Ethan did some good things. He did some things that he can do better, but we feel like he gives us the best chance right now. And he was a little rusty coming off, all of his missed time, but our team really believes in him, and he's going to continue to improve. He's going to have a great week of practice. We've got to continue to mold the offense around what he can do, and we got to make plays around him. He hit some guys in the hands, and we didn't make the plays. And we normally make those plays. We had a deep ball. We had another corner route that would have been a 15-yard gain. We were backed up where he hit people in the hands. And, we got to make those plays. And so just collectively as a group to get this thing going, we got to all play a little bit better.
Heath, go ahead with your follow-up.
Yeah, I wanted to, you talked about kind of 17-14 there. Defense seemed like tackling became an issue. Wanted to ask you about that late in the game. Is, you talked about it in the past. Is how do you work on that now, this late in the season, going forward?
We work on it every week. We've got a few kids that aren't tackling well. We've got a lot that are tackling well. The ones that aren't, seem to get that's where the explosive plays are coming. The big thing is in college football, you see it every week in every game. There's going to be a missed tackle, but when you miss a tackle, you have to miss it with proper leverage. That way, it's forced back into the next guy. And the explosive plays late, we had 2 missed tackles. And if you get 2 missed tackles in a play, it's usually going to be an explosive. Credit to Monroe and their young men for making that happen. We've obviously got to get better at that. We're working extremely hard on it. We're going to continue to work extremely hard on it, and in hopes that we can continue to improve on it. Like I said, we tackled good for a while. Well, we got to finish the game, and one way to finish the game better is to not be on the field so much. And which is the third downs have killed us all year long, offensively and defensively. It's a program-wide issue. We don't convert third downs offensively, and we don't stop them on third down defensively, which leads to a higher play count, which leads to fatigue late in games. And we got to find a way to score points offensively. We got to score and move the ball and play complementary football better to allow our defense to play better late in games.
Let's jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, you kind of touched on this, for 3 quarters, a pretty outstanding defensive effort. What are some of those notes that you can take from that defensive performance and moving forward to Arkansas State this next week?
Yeah, well, 2 weeks in a row, we've been in the fourth quarter with a team that's 5-1 and had our opportunities to win it. And we've got to take that next step to find a way to win those games, and it's a collective wide effort from me on through the program. We're disappointed that we haven't been able to do that. We thought we would be able to. We're continuing to work on the things and address the issues head on that are causing us not to do those things. Number one thing is I think we got to score more points. We got to move the ball more consistently. We got to stay on the field more to give our team hope and life. And also, if you could play with a lead, it changes the way you can play defense and the way the other team plays offense. And so continue to work, continue to grow. And, I think we'll have a great week this week.
Our next question comes from Adam.
Hey, Coach, you talked about how your team needs to score more points and you got a week of practice coming up, but what are some things in addition to that you're going to have to do really well in order to come out with a win at home against Arkansas State this weekend?
We got to contain their quarterback. Obviously, he's a really good football player. He had his coming out party versus us last year. Got a lot of respect for him. They do a good job of leveraging the ball defensively. They're very consistent in how they play, so their players really know what their assignments are. They've had the same D coordinator there since Coach Jones has been there. Offensively, I got a lot of respect for Coach Heckendorf. I've known him forever through our old D2 playing days. They do a really good job of accentuating, what their quarterback can do. So, for us, we've got to continue to evolve and move in the direction of what we can do. And then we got to make plays when they're there. To win a game in those critical moments, we've got to make that catch. We've got to make that guy miss. We've got to not turn that ball over. We've got to leverage the ball. And if we don't tackle it, force it back into the next guy where he can tackle it. And, the last 2 weeks we're about 3 plays away from winning big games versus 5-1 teams. Now, that's not good enough. We're Southern Miss, but we've got to get over this hump and get those plays done.
And we'll go back over to Heath.
Coach, that first drive, you're running the ball so well, you get it down to the 1 and you have to kick a field goal there. Does that, when you have been doing all year and you finally get that drive going, does that sting a little bit for you and the team when you get that close and you can't get it over the goal line that early in the game?
Maybe so, but it's early. Heath, we kicked a field goal, was up 3-0. I mean, you'd always rather score a touchdown than kick a field goal. We should have scored right there. We should have scored the play before, and we should have scored on that play, But it's early in the game. You score, you go up 3-0, and you got to continue to play the game and play it the right way. And when those opportunities, come your way, you've got to seize those. And one play usually doesn't make or break a game. In a good football game, it's usually 5 to 7 plays, but you never know when those 5 or 7 are coming. And but when those opportunities come, you got to make them. And we had our opportunities to make them, and we didn't. And Monroe did, and I credit them for that.
Thanks, Coach Hall. We appreciate the time today.
Thank you guys so much.
Sure. Well, referring back to this past Saturday, a lot of lessons to be learned, and we're going to need to apply those lessons very, very quickly. Everything is about the discipline and the details, the ability to execute. We had 4 drives of over 12 plays or more and came away with 9 points out of those. And again, you have to turn those into touchdowns. More particularly about the second half. The first half it's 17-9. We have a good 2-minute drive at the end. We're in a competitive game, and they come out the second half and they do a good job of driving the ball to make it 24-9. But we're getting ready to respond. We have the ball going in, and we fumble the ball in the red area, and you can't do that. But when we talk about team football and complementary football, our defense needs to go out and generate a 3-and-out. We weren't able to do that. And then I think everything kind of snowballed from there. But, when you look at explosive plays, when you look at the turnovers, we lost that battle, and you're not going to give yourself an opportunity to win. Way too many missed tackles on the perimeter. It's a line of scrimmage game. No matter what offense or defensive schemes you play, football will never change. It's still about the fundamentals and skill set of blocking and tackling and a toughness to finish plays. We didn't do very well in critical down execution. I think really the storyline from an offensive standpoint is I believe we had 17 third downs. And if you're not generating first downs on first and second down and you're relying on third down, you're playing the law of percentage game and you're going to have a long night. So some lessons to learn. We're going to need to apply them immediately and get ready for a great road test Saturday at Southern Miss at 6 p.m. So I'll answer any questions y'all may have.
For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for questions. We'll kick it off with Jeff Reed.
Hey, Butch. Good morning.
Morning.
You talked, I said this several times, that you're 9 for 11 and 10 for 11 on plays, and that's causing problems. Have those been the same position, or is that something that's been scattered throughout the team?
Yeah, Jeff, that's a good question. And that's the encouraging thing and the frustrating thing is it's not just been one position group or it's not just been one individual player. And that's been everyone asked about the red zone execution, all the little details, things. It's been 1-2 players, not executing their job, but it's not been one group in particular. And so that's why we're very close. We just need to keep working our way through it. We need to keep coaching it up. We need to keep demanding. But it's been all over in terms of position groups.
And let's go over to Charles.
What's going on, Coach? How you doing, man?
Hey, Charles.
Defensively, you kind of mentioned before a lot of arm tackles. What was the message to the defense after the game?
Well, fundamental discipline. It's Bill Belichick talks about all the time. You have to first not lose the game before you can win the game. And we lost the game with our fundamentals and our details. When you play an explosive offense like Texas State, you have to be able to play in space. You have to be able to run your feet. You have to get blind pursuit to the football. You have to leverage the football. all those fundamentals and details that go into it. Also, it's a line of scrimmage game. I thought in the first half, we did a good job of being gap conscientious. We were squaring our gaps. We took on double teams square. And then in the second half, it was completely different. I thought we really missed the services of Nate Marty. It's amazing how one player can make a big difference, but it did. And we're excited to get him back this week. But the biggest thing is playing team defense. And then, some of our pass drops and zone coverage and some different things where I think we had some players start to press. But again, we had 18 missed tackles in the game, and you're not going to be very successful when you have that many.
Let's jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach. I'm just curious. Do you think it was a factor? We saw the number of attendance and being on the road like that. Does that kind of affect communication, or do you think that played a factor?
I don't. Those are external factors. We practice every week with that, regardless of who our opponent is. So it's something that we do even in our off-season program. So I don't. But I do think, the part of communication is also echoing the call and communicating that you got the call. And so much of it is a communicative based system. I mean, everyone is based off of communication, but, confirming that communication is just as important as getting it. But I don't, just because we practice with it, and we've been in venues at Michigan and Iowa State this year as well. But you can't let external factors come in. And so I don't.
Let's go over to Jeremy.
Hey, Coach.
Jeremy.
The offense has struggled the last 4 games with especially with getting into the end zone. What's the fix? What needs to happen to get out of field goal range and into the end zone?
Well, I think first of all, when you look at, I spoke about it earlier, is, we had 4 drives of 12 plays or more. And then we're coming away with field goals, and we have to have the discipline to execute play in and play out. And what defense has done is they've made us play perfect, and we're not getting enough explosive plays. I think that's the biggest thing, is the explosive plays that allow you to be able to have some quick scores and not just methodically move the ball down the field. Because eventually, when when we talk about 11 for 11, you're going to have breakdowns. I think the biggest thing again is when we get to the red zone, we're at the tail end of those long drives, and the ability to focus, play in and play out, snap and clear mentality, and then, make the plays. We had very few assignment errors. It was just breakdowns in terms of fundamentals, details, all those little things.
Let's go back over to Charles.
Coach, Jaquez had a big game Saturday, 117 yards on the ground, 48 yards receiving. Was it important to get him the touches this week? And what's the plan for him moving forward?
Well, again, he's a big part of what we do. And so, we'll continue to work to get him touches. I think, we were finally able to establish the run game a little bit. It's the highest output we've had all year. So I think that really helped him as well. I thought he was very disciplined in his run reads. He got the ball north and south. And so, again, we just have to constantly keep evolving. We have not played our best football to date, not even close. And it comes down to just, all 11. It's really, there's no secret to it. There's no magic formula or potion or coach speak that can get it. It really just comes down to the overall discipline, from landmarks to feet to hands to your eye discipline to all that. And then, even your quarterback making the right reads in the run game, and then the discipline to carry out his fakes. All that goes in. And then how you block on the perimeter has a big hand in too, and how effectively you run the ball consistently as well.
Thanks, Coach Jones. We appreciate the time today.
All right. Have a good week.
Yeah. Anytime you get a road win in this conference, it's a great day. And, that's a well-coached football team, and, that we played, and tremendous amount of respect for Coach McGee. And so really excited about that win. And now we know we've got a great challenge in front of us. We've got, a great and talented and confident Texas State team coming in here. And Coach Kinne's done a great job of building that program. So excited about the challenge and questions.
For our media, please raise your hand and we'll call on you for your questions. We'll start it off with Billy.
Hey, Coach, two questions for you. First one, how important do you think it was to see that your defense come through at the end of that game and, come away with the one possession win?
Yeah, I'm actually glad you asked this question because I think this, we've had a lot of one possession games, and for whatever reason, it's looked at like we never win them. We're now 8-8 in our last 16 one possession games. So, do I want to be 15-1 or 16-0? Of course I do. But for whatever reason, it's looked at that we lose them all the time and that we haven't come through. When in fact, we've come through quite a few times. So. Yeah, it was great to see our defense come through. They came, they've come through in the past for us, and and we knew they would, and we were pretty confident about it. We don't want to put them in that position, and would have liked to get, another first down in there, and get the onside kick, which I thought was just an incredible kick by that kid. A lot of credit goes to that guy, but yeah, it was obviously awesome. Great defensive call by Coach Seiler and great execution by Coach Trinidad.
And then my second question. Just talk about Colton and his performance, what you saw from him and, what you kind of can expect from him moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, every situation he gets is going to be something he hasn't experienced before. So you've got a young kid out there playing, and I think he's playing he's playing tough. He's playing with a lot of passion. Like the way he really managed the end of that game with, we had a little bit more of a 4-minute mentality. And so that's something he hasn't had before. Right. And so he had to manage that. And you might think that's easy, but it's not. It's one of those situations where you've got to teach guys how to do that. And I thought he did a nice job of when to snap the ball and, do those sort of things. So, he obviously provided a spark with his legs. We ran for 202 yards in that game and held them to 57. So 145-yard advantage in the run game in this conference is that's a big feat. And so, he had a lot to do with that, with his decision making and things like that. And he made some plays in the passing game when we needed to. He's going to continue to grow and get better, and we're excited about that.
And let's jump over to Adam.
Hey, Coach, talk about how rewarding it is for you guys to get that first conference win of the season. And I know you talked about your defense and the outstanding performance that they had in that game to hold on for the win, but they're also going to face their toughest test of the season, possibly at least in the conference to date with Texas State. So what kind of things are you going to do to prepare them and get them ready for the next test?
Well, obviously it was great to get that first win. You want to go 1-0. And I told the guys, hey, listen, we just got to keep going 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. It's going to be hard to go undefeated in this league. I mean, it's, if somebody does that, hats off to them. So, for our defense, they've seen a little bit of that with the way we've run a lot of these similar concepts. But obviously, it's an incredibly talented quarterback who's going to go down as one of the best players in Sun Belt history. Then you've got those receivers who are, really, really good players. I think their receivers are underrated. They're not the biggest guys, but they are quick. They make contested catches. They block. They run after the catch. They read space very, very well. Well coached, good players. And then their running back he's a dangerous dude. I mean, he gets to 0 to 60 pretty fast. And so this is going to be a great challenge. We've got to tackle and we've got to have great eye discipline. And those are the things that, we have to do if we're going to be successful in this game.
Let's go back over to Billy.
Yeah, Coach. And just kind of following up with that, looking at the box score from this past weekend, not a lot of assisted tackles, guys making tackles in space. How important do you think that's going to be this weekend?
Well, it's going to be critical. I mean, that's what this whole offense is set up and designed for you to do. I do think that they've done a nice job of, in their run game, they make it's not a passive run game. It's very physical. and they have some large human beings playing offensive linemen, and so they're going to make it, bloody in the box, and then they put it outside, and there's a lot of space out there, and they've got some talented guys and that can make the plays, including their quarterback who can make plays with his feet. So tackling is always going to be a critical thing. You watch it early, even in the Arizona State game. Arizona State didn't tackle particularly well early, and then they started tackling really well later, and things changed around. Same for Sam Houston. So tackling is obviously a big factor.
Thanks, Coach Rahne. We got one more from Adam.
Yeah, Coach Rahne, I mentioned it last week. You guys had 3 straight road games, and you were able to finish it on the high note, but now you finally get to play back at home. Is there any sense of confidence or a little extra that it's going around the locker room knowing you guys finally get back to playing in your friendly confines?
I mean, it's funny, there's some advantages to both. When you're on the road, you're just with the guys and all those sort of things, and some distractions are limited and things like that. But obviously being at home and not having to travel and those sort of things, one of the things, especially when you have to fly or when you're on a long bus, is, those little nicks and bruises when they're sitting in those seats for a long time like that, they can become a little bit extra, and it takes a lot of, little extra rehab and things like that to get those guys back and ready to go. So to be at home and to have that extra time to be able to get some of that back, I think that's a huge factor. And I know we're excited. I know our fans are excited about this game. It's homecoming for us, and we'll have a little bit different uniform for it, and on the helmet and everything like that, which we're excited about. And so, I think that those sort of things are cool. But ultimately, that all goes out the window once that ball's kicked off.
Thanks, Coach Rahne. Appreciate the time today.
Yep, thank you.
Obviously a disappointing finish to the game. Hats off to Georgia Southern for battling for 60 minutes. I apologize to all of her nation. I did not do a good job as the head coach at getting our guys to finish in the last 4 minutes of the game. That's on me. As a head coach, I take extreme ownership over it. Got to find a way to get our guys to hold on to the ball and finish out the game in the very end. The plan we had, we felt good about. It was not good enough. So as coaches, the staff, we take extreme ownership. We've got to give our kids a better chance to be successful in the back end of a game. Again, hats off to Georgia Southern. They battled for the whole time. They made some big plays in the end of the game that really gave them a chance to be successful. Thought our kids battled and played phenomenal for 56 and a half minutes. Thought our plan for 56 and a half minutes was really good. We've got to be better at the end. This community deserves better. The locker room deserves better. That's on me. We will be better Thursday night. I can promise you that. Still a lot of great things ahead of us. Getting ready for a phenomenal opponent here in Huntington and Georgia State, who's been very good throughout this year in spurts. Obviously, they've had some moments they'd like to have back, like all of us, but when they are on, they are on. Their offense is really good. Defensively, they fly around. They're physical. They're good in the back end. So it's going to be a challenge this Thursday here in Huntington.
All right, we'll open up now for questions for our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you. Our first questions come from Luke Creasy.
Coach, what was the the temper like, the feel of yesterday's practice? Were the guys eager to get back out there on the field?
Pissed off, extremely pissed off. We know we let one get away, and that's no disrespect to Georgia Southern. That wasn't our standard. It's not who we are. The kids know it's not who we are. I told them that I apologized to them because I didn't get them a better plan in the end. They told me to go to hell because they said players make plays. So they took extreme ownership over it. I took extreme ownership over it. We'll come out of the tunnel with a different fire in our eyes Thursday night. I can promise you that.
And let's go over to Adam.
Coach, understanding it is the short week, but you guys are back at home and another opportunity with a big East Division game. What do you see in Georgia State that you guys are going to have to do really well to defend against that and to also execute offensively against them?
Yeah, we're going to have to take care of the ball. That's a big piece of it. You turn the ball over in this league multiple times, and you're going to get beat. That's top to bottom in this league, home or away. The other thing is, we had been averaging about 3 penalties a game. We had 11 last week. You combine those with 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, 11 penalties, you're asking for a recipe for disaster. If that had happened over the course of the game, we would have lost the game. We just wouldn't have did it in the last 4 minutes. We get 2 touchdowns called back for penalties. That changes the whole dynamic of the game. We get a penalty on a punt return that puts us, inside the 5. At that point, even if we just walk the ball down the field 5 yards and punt it away, it changes that dynamic of the game. So in order for us to do what we need to do Thursday night, we've got to take care of the ball, and we got to play disciplined football. We can't have the penalties. We can't put ourselves inside the 5, to start drives. One of them, we dug our way out and went 97 yards. The other one, we ended up giving up 2 points on a intentional grounding call. So in order for us to be successful Thursday night, which we will do a better job of taking care of the ball, making sure that our penalties are not tripping us up, putting ourselves in a position to be able to win the game on execution and not Marshall created issues. That's what we got to do. That's what I got to get these guys to do. That's what the staff's got to get these guys to do, so that we give ourselves a chance Thursday night.
Let's kick it over to Billy.
Hey, Coach. I understand where you're coming from, and I'm just curious: is there any talk or a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, that this is the halfway point? You still got a whole nother season. You still got 6 games to really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I mean, we're not. I mean, I can't speak for outside of this building, but we're not the sky is falling. We strongly believe in what we set out to do. We still strongly believe in that. We're frustrated because, when you get an opportunity to go out and create value for yourself, you want to do that, whether it's the first game, last game, midway. As far as the road that we're on, the journey we're on, I'm not sure the locker room could be in a better place. I'm not sure the leadership could be in a better place. I'm not sure the players could be in a better place. We have a leadership meeting every Sunday just to kind of set the tone for the week. And they told me, it's like, Coach, you go up to the plate and you get a chance to hit a home run and you strike out. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get 3 more at bats tonight. It just means that opportunity, you had an opportunity, you didn't take advantage of it. That doesn't affect, in our view, the next game or the game after that. That just, whenever you get opportunities in life, whether it's very small, very minimal, or very big, you want to be able to take advantage of them. Our kids work way too hard each and every week to go out and miss an opportunity. Now, obviously, you work 365 days for 12 of those opportunities, so you still have a lot of big picture things ahead of you, but you still don't want to miss any step. There's a lot of plays in that game our guys are frustrated about that a lot of people that watch the entire game won't even realize. There were some reads that we were missed. There were some opportunities missed defensively. Jacoby Henderson probably could have had 3 interceptions. He got 1, but he had a chance for 2 other ones. He's more disappointed about the missed opportunities for those other 2 than he is about, the last play of the game. So for us, it's a little bit more, we want to make sure we maximize each and every opportunity. That takes nothing away from the opponent. All of the issues that we had were created, right? They ripped the ball out, whether he was down or not down. They threw a pass at the end of the game and complete. They still executed, but we felt like there were things that we could have done that would have negated that. And that's what we try to focus on each week, each play, each drive.
Thanks, Coach Huff. Appreciate the time today.
Thanks, guys. Go Herd.